Welcome, welcome to Live with Lisa. Here is our Executive Director of Great Education Colorado, ready to share about what's going on at the Capitol and for Colorado. Lisa, how are you doing?
Well, I've got a little bit of a cold, you should probably be able to tell, but I am doing okay, trying to keep up with. There's more happening in public education and school funding than I can remember in a long time. A lot of things happening at once, and we got to keep our eye on all of it and our eye on the long-term goal of making sure that every student can thrive in their schools.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's going on this week? We're live on this Tuesday. All the conventions have met. Where are we at in Colorado?
Well, in Colorado, there is a special session going on right now. Folks who have been following Great Ed know that we have been working to oppose initiatives 50 and 108, which are just massive, inequitable, irresponsible property tax cuts that would have devastated all the services that we care about. I think that we would have defeated them at the ballot because I think folks recognize that you get something for when you pay taxes. There is a benefit that comes in creating the communities that we need and that help us thrive. And so I think we could have defeated it, but it was a big risk. It is a big risk, and so the special session, the governor called a special session to negotiate with the folks who have put 50 and 108 on the ballot or who have submitted all the signatures to maybe make a deal so that those would be taken off the ballot. And that's what's happening right now. There is a bill going through. It started yesterday. It's going to take till at least Thursday just because of how long it takes to go through all the processes of legislation. Unfortunately, that deal is going to mean a loss of $120 million a year in revenue property taxes that would go to schools. And um, after all the years of the budget stabilization factor, the BS factor that cut $10 billion out of schools, and knowing that there were the COVID dollars that really have improved what the kind of services that kids get, those are disappearing. There as of September 1st, they're gone. So it's just hard to watch dollars sent away from schools that could be used there. I do understand why people are frightened that if 50 or 108 passed, every public service, fire district, and higher education, everything would be on the line, and we would be cutting schools more deeply. So I understand why they want to make that. It is unfortunate that being able to put something on the ballot, having the funds to put something on the ballot can create this kind of uh, extortion, to put it mild, to put it bluntly. But it is what it is, and I know there are people who are working to make sure that schools are protected as much as can be in the context of having to, the idea that these measures have to be kept off the ballot.
Whew, that was a lot,
That
to
was a
say the
lot.
least.
That was a
Yeah,
lot.
man. But it's good to know and be reminded of the severity and just the gap that is now going to be evident. Losing funds is only going to have a negative impact, unfortunately. I mean, educators are resourceful, kids are resilient. However, they shouldn't have to be put into that space when we
Exactly.
know funds help and are deserved, right? And owed. We're not even here for that conversation, but you were talking about, the landscape of, public education where it stands now. What is the status from last week? It was, you mentioned ballot, the counting of signatures for ballot 138. What's
Right.
the status of that?
So 138 is going to be on the ballot. They had all the signatures they need, all the places that it needed, and so This is something that creates a constitutional right to something that parents already have the right to, which is to choose which schools or what kind of schools their kids go to, whether that's charter or neighborhood, private, home. Parents have that right now. This would create a constitutional right, and the reason that it is being put on the ballot is to open the door for vouchers. To say, if I have a right for my child to go anywhere, I should have the funding to make that choice a reality, because private schools aren't available generally if you don't have the funds to do it. And this is what's happened in Arizona, and it's been a catastrophe for public schools. Over 70% of Coloradans don't want private dollars, or sorry, public dollars to go to private schools. That's not something that voters like. That's why the proponents of 138 are going to pretend that this isn't about vouchers, because they know that if folks know that it is, that it will fail. And that's why we're going to keep telling the truth about it, that this is intended to put something in the Constitution so that our public dollars can go to private schools. And if you look at what happened uh, in Arizona, over 70% of the money that is going from public fisc into private tuition is going to students who had never gone to public school. It's just subsidizing the decisions that mostly affluent parents were already making. That is not something that Colorado can afford. That's not something that the students of Colorado should have to face, in addition to the chronic underfunding that already exists in this state. It-
Ooh, man, it's just like live with Lisa. We live, getting all the facts and just laying out the reality. You know, knowing that the vouchers of the voucher systems in other states did not even increase folks' likelihood to get into those private
well,
schools. This is
that's
like
a great point.
ridiculous as well, because that's who they pitch to, right? To convince. And that's what we see as, being baited in Colorado for Coloradans. So,
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And a couple things about that. One is I know our friends in Arizona and some of the other states where this is happening say it's not really parent choice, it's the choice of the school, because private schools can discriminate on any basis. They have no requirements to meet the needs of students with disabilities. So that's number one. I also want to address something that's been coming up. I know the proponents of this measure sent emails to a lot, if not all, charter schools, making it sound like this is the only that this is necessary to protect charter schools. Charter schools and public school choice has been in Colorado for over 30 years. It is well established. They're trying to make it sound like we need to put this in the Constitution because charter schools could disappear, and that's just it's a red herring, and it's trying to pit public charter schools against public neighborhood schools, and that's not a thing. If we take vouchers and put money into private schools, charter schools are public schools, and they're going to get cut too. And so to think to that this is a cynical ploy to take public charters and pit them against the neighborhood magnet schools, all the rest, when in fact we're all in the same boat. All public school kids, all public schools are in the same boat when it comes to vouchers. It's going to cut all public schools. It's going to cut charters, and we need to band together and make sure that folks know vouchers are bad for public schools. Period.
so if I gave you 90 seconds, what are three reasons or sound bites that people could, use when since this made it on the ballot, it's not going to be necessarily ballot 138, initiative 138.
Right.
So we know that. So once folks, we find out, the numbering and title, we'll be able to share more. But in the meantime, what can we plant seeds of, the sound bites for folks even before it gets a title, and is shared. 3 reasons why vouchers would be bad for Coloradans. You've mentioned a number, but can you make
Make it concise.
just, or even just the biggest one you think, that has the most impact for parents, right now?
Sure. I would say public schools are a public good. It's public schools that allow communities to thrive, and everybody in a community has an interest in the success of public schools. Most Coloradans, over 70%, know that it's not a great idea to take, and it's wrong to take public dollars that are so scarce right now for our schools, public dollars, and put them into private schools. The vast majority of Coloradans don't want that to happen, and that's what Initiative 138, which will become Amendment something, that's what it does. It will create vouchers. That is what it's for, is to make it possible for public dollars to go to private schools and hurt our public schools because we can't afford that. So no matter what you hear about, it's about parent choice and it's just protecting a right that is endangered. That is, none of that is true. This is on the ballot to create a situation, create the opportunity for vouchers in Colorado, which will undermine our public schools even worse. And I just want to add here, Annalise, Great Education Colorado exists to promote and protect public education. And right now, what we have to do at the ballot is protect public education from this voucher proposal. But in the future, we need the opportunity to promote public education. And that's what we'll be doing when we go to the legislature and say, you gave away $120 million. We have Tabor surplus that comes in that we don't get to spend on public education. When are we going to do what's right? Good to see you, Jonna. When are we going to do what's right for our kids? And we'll know what that means, what fully funded schools mean. We're going to know in January whether a study comes back and says this is what's necessary to make sure that all our diversities of students in all our diversities of communities, actually, what are the resources they need to succeed? We're going to have that answer. And Great Education Colorado is going to go from protect mode to promote mode and start working with legislators and our fellow citizens to find a way to provide the funding so that our kids get what we know they need. And I just want to look at this comment from Jonna. Absolutely. Thank you, Jonna. That another reason to really oppose 138 is that in rural communities, first of all, there's not a lot of private opportunities anyway, and so we'll just be taking money away from public schools and sending it to the Front Range for private tuition. And as Jonna pointed out there, for rural schools, the school is the center of the community. It's where people come together, whether it's for the basketball or football games or for the community events that happen in the gymnasium or the auditorium. Those public schools are the heart of the community, and doing something that takes money from that to put into the pocket of people who are going to send their kids to private school anyway, that is not a good use of limited dollars.
No, and it's a travesty. Just to cause that confusion of things that already are parent rights. It's just terrible to, bait and really switch. We know. So
it really is trying to get people to vote for one thing when the real purpose of it is completely the opposite and will undermine the choices available to parents in the public school system in the future.
Well, I am glad we can go live today just to share that the special session is happening currently and just the update that 138 did get on the ballot. And, we'll be looking out for the title for that and next steps, which we'll share out. Join the newsletter so you don't miss our updates as well. There's multiple opportunities with Great Ed to get involved and to stay in the know for what Lisa said, a way to protect public education this year. So
Yep.
thanks again, Lisa. And
Thank you.
don't forget also, we're going to give a little shout out. It's our luncheon, September 24th. It's live, and make sure we don't miss a chance for people to come get to know us, hang out with us, celebrate welcoming schools. And what we do know is every even the comment that was posted from a viewer, schools are the center of communities and they have to be welcoming, and so we're going to be celebrating the organizations and folks who have been committed and doing the work to create welcoming schools. So we look forward to seeing everybody at the Denver Botanic Gardens September 24th from 11 to 2. Get there so you can get your parking and have a great lunch with us.
Enjoy the gardens.
Yes. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Annalise.